It's time. The world will know you as pop stars. But you will be much more than that. You will be hunters.
Hey! This is the men's bathhouse. Get out of here!
They're stealing the souls of our fans? Let's send those disgusting demons back to the depths where they belong!
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah! Let's get battle ready.
I can destroy the hunters for good. It's time for a new strategy.
You're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop.
The demon boy band? They're coming after the fans.
You're my soda pop, my little soda pop.
The Sasha Boy!
Let's go get these guys. You think we're just gonna let you steal our fans? You're gonna have to fight us for them.
Yeah, this plane's trashed.
Everything is at stake.
It's a takeout, so sweet, so easy on the eyes, but hideous on the inside. Whole life spinning lies, but you can't hide, baby. Nice try.
Welcome to Gaslit Nation. I am your host, Andrea Chalupa, a journalist and filmmaker and the writer and producer of the journalistic thriller Mr. Jones, about Stalin's genocide famine in Ukraine, the film the Kremlin does not want you to see, so be sure to watch it. Several months ago, a Gaslit Nation listener asked me what my canary in the coal mine moment would be that America is no longer gradually becoming a dictatorship, but officially becoming a dictatorship. And my answer to that question here on the show was this: when they start taking our late night comedians off the air. The example I gave was a popular comedy show in Russia that used to make fun of Putin. One of the first things Putin did when consolidating power was put pressure on Russian businessmen to consolidate media ownership in order to act as an extension of state censorship. Sound familiar? That comedy show, which half of the country reliably watched every Sunday in Russia, was eventually silenced. 25 years later, you can't hold up an anti-war sign in Moscow without being arrested. That's where things are headed here in America if we do not unite and stop it. And we can. As you're now seeing with your own eyes and ears, Trump and the Republican far right has been consolidating media ownership, most notably of local TV network stations, to cement their control of American society. Trump, of course, has Truth Social, and he has his lackeys, his supporters, the Republican base, gobbling up local TV networks. This eerily reminds me of the Seven Mountains Mandate, an evangelical Christian nationalist movement started in the 1970s that aims to dominate America by Christian nationalism taking over the 7 pillars of society: religion, family, education, government, the military, business, media, and the arts and entertainment. People are rightfully boycotting Disney, as they should, but keep in mind it's obviously not just Disney. Bob Iger, Disney CEO, has a history of speaking out against Republican fascism. He spoke out against Florida's Russian-style anti-gay laws, Stephen Miller's Muslim ban, and he left Trump's Presidential Advisory Council in protest of Trump pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So what's changed? What happened to woke Bob Iger? For one thing, the local networks across the country owned by Sinclair and Nexstar, both owned by Republicans with long histories of donating to Republicans, put the squeeze on Disney in an act of censorship extortion. Could this be a Christian nationalist power grab? Nexstar CEO Perry Sook, who reportedly owns the most television stations in the country, when asked in an interview for his favorite book, he replied, "The Bible." Disney already accepted going down this slippery slope when they became the first major network to bow down to Trump, making a $15 million donation to the convicted felons, quote unquote, presidential library. Like, what does Trump need a presidential library for? It's just going to be his books, Ivanka's books, and like Hitler's speeches. Because remember, Ivana Trump said in their divorce that he kept a copy of Hitler's speeches next to his bed in his bedroom, and now he gives rallies, including one that almost led to the violent overthrow of our democracy on January 6th. All right, so back to today. So Disney, George Stephanopoulos, they settled that defamation suit where George Stephanopoulos, yes, he said that Trump had been found legally liable for raping writer E. Jean Carroll, when in fact, technically, Trump was found guilty for sexual abuse. Sexual abuse. But E. Jean Carroll's case has held up despite Trump's challenges. So really, sexual abuse, rape, sure, let's get super technical as a form of elite criminal impunity. So yes, Disney and Iger got this media capitulation, human centipede nightmare started, and it's now helping Trump consolidate power with loyalists owning the airwaves and leveraging all that power to force the more liberal in the business world to fall in line, just like Russia. Just like Russia. And that leads us to Jimmy Kimmel being disappeared from air. It's important to note that the American people who believe in democracy outnumber MAGA's Christian nationalist movement. But yes, they are beating us down emotionally with their gaslighting, disinformation, worsening their political violence epidemic, their crisis that they caused. It's not a two-side thing. The data backs it up. The political violence crisis is coming from the far right. So what have beaten down Americans been doing? They've largely been checking out of the traditional news media and increasingly turning to comedians like Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Seth Meyers for the news. I've watched this trend playing out since 2021. As soon as Biden white saged the White House, Americans breathed a sigh of relief and took a break from our democracy crisis, launching a media ratings collapse. Where were Americans getting their news and analysis from instead? The comedy shows. They needed the laugh. They needed help processing the horror show we're in. They didn't want the information thrown on them like a cold bucket of Arctic ice. They wanted to laugh, to feel good, if only for a moment. Now, those brilliant comedians providing a national service are being chipped away one by one. Trump posted on Truth Social, "Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC." As I've long said, two things differentiate us from the fascists: empathy and humor. They have no sense of humor. When Trump had his Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden days before the election, they had a so-called right-wing comedian on stage who was literally just saying racist things against Puerto Ricans. Like, not an ounce of humor in it. It was just a list of racism. So what's next? Trump's lackey, Brendan Carr, the chair of the Federal Communications Commission, who himself once challenged the notion of censorship when it came to EU media regulation, now promises to go full Voldemort on what's left of our media. Here's a clip of FCC Chair Brendan Carr talking to, you guessed it, Fox News, otherwise known as Pravda.
And so again, we're going back to that era when local TV stations judging the public interest get to decide what the American people think. And again, we're constraining the power through those actions of Disney, of Comcast. I think the American public are going to be much better off. But yeah, I don't think this is the last shoe to drop. This is a massive shift that's taking place in the media ecosystem. And I think the consequences are going to continue to flow.
So did you guys hear that? Take a moment and pay attention to what he said. It might shock you that they're being that open with their ruthlessness. If they're this open about what they're doing, imagine how open they will be after they've succeeded. Jeffrey Epstein will appear back from the dead and have his own suite in the White House. I am serious. Trump and the vile elite he serves are doing this to live above the law, make as much money as possible, and yes, openly enjoy their real-life QAnon elite pedophile cabal. I am the one who has been calling them since the beginning. That's where this is headed. And I know that because listen to them. When we say release the Epstein files, we mean it. Keep saying it. Keep pushing before it's too late. Now may feel like a time to panic and start shopping for real estate abroad. I want to assure you of two things. Moving abroad doesn't solve anything. This is a global war of fascism against democracy, and us small d Democrats need to hold our ground. This is our country. Second, the irony here is that America is different from Russia in a very important way. Arts and entertainment are one of our largest exports. The best artists in the world all want to make it here. Does Russia have that? No, it does not. Not by a long shot. A lot of that mysterious Russian soul that Westerners like to talk about are actually non-Russian artists whose countries were appropriated by the Russian Empire. So what does the US have that Russia doesn't have that might make a big difference for us in this moment? What's giving me hope right now? The answer is wonderful, and it is K-pop demon hunters. Here's a clip from Monday's Salon that I want you all to listen to.
I do think that we're going to get through this. And so someone mentioned Olga Lotman. Yes, she goes after these guys too and mapping them and trying to make sense of them. Olga Lotman, her family escaped the Soviet Union, like my family did. And she and I had a very sort of Ukrainian response to Trump coming back. We did everything we could to try to stop that happening, obviously, because for reasons we all see now. And Olga just really summed it up. She's like, Americans are being forced to go through their dictatorship phase. And once you go through it and you come out the other side, which we ultimately will because we have no choice and we have a lot, we're already in it. Don't think like we're not on a roller coaster with the big drop about to happen and anticipating anything. I think that's the wrong attitude. We're already in it. This is what it looks like. Life still carries on. There's still concerts and restaurants and like you still go to birthday parties in a dictatorship. I think that's what people get surprised by. It's just troops in the street, not knowing if your vote counts, seeing like a virus of censorship across our institutions, like this chill takeover, the fug state that people are in, this feeling of like if I just everyone around you like being quiet or putting their head down, like succumbing to distractions, escapism. Like I'm advocating like find your thing that makes you feel alive. That's not escapism, right? But some people are just like washing their hands of all of this and thinking that they can just wait it out as though like, oh, I'll put in 10, 20 years of my life, just live the best life I can. And then this will all take care of itself. It doesn't work like that. This could be, it doesn't change unless we create a culture of change, and you create a culture through an alternative. And one of those alternatives, so one of the things we do have going for us, which traditional dictatorships don't have, is culture and the free market, ironically, the same free market that got us here. But if you look at Netflix partnered with Sony to deliberately make a hit film. And that film became the #1 film on Netflix. And that film is called K-Pop Demon Hunters. And the reason why it's such a huge hit is because it appeals to the 4 quadrants that every single marketer wants to hit. Women, it's a fantasy power film where women are infinitely powerful. They slaughter these demons while looking glamorous and singing like pop stars. And then it appeals to men and because there's all this action and adventure and an interesting plot line. There's like male characters that are suffering too and dealing with their own baggage. And then it, of course, appeals to children. And the songs are extremely catchy. And again, action and adventure and suspense throughout. On the playground, I hear the moms, the dads singing the songs from this film. I hear the groups of boys being boys on the playground, arguing over how one of the females in the pop group is like the best rapper. She's so scary. She's like fights those bad guys. You know what I mean? Like to see little boys looking up to a female Korean rapper, that's Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And so what I'm telling you is the irony is that we have a free market, and that free market cannot force a Charlie Kirk martyrdom cartoon down our throats and expect it to be a global sensation like K-pop Demon Hunters, other than us watching it out of horror. But like, so the market responds to what the market wants. Black Panther, Girls Trip, like all of these films with like black casts, black creators, the market went nuts. When there's money to be made, the white male patriarchy will do what it takes to cash in and give the market what it wants. Putin got some rapper in Russia to make a rap video glorifying him. It became the most downvoted, hated video in Russian YouTube history. Dictators cannot force the market to fall in line by shoving things down their throat. They can't. And so that's the thing, is we're going to get more K-pop Demon Hunters, and that's going to put fantasies in the heads of our children that women are strong and tough and they can rap and they can fight bad guys, and little boys are going to see that, little girls are going to see that, and that's going to be normal to them, and it's like there's going to be a lot more of that culture coming out, and things are going to change in a way that we're not even going to notice. I just think it's pretty exceptional because the cartoons I grew up with, everyone was white, everyone was straight, the women were all pining after marriage, and now it's like these women in K-pop Demon Hunters want to know what they pine after? Shoving their faces full of food while sitting on the couch, staring into space and doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's revolutionary. That's revolutionary. One of these women just love to eat. They eat like Garfield, the cat, they burp really loudly. It's like, that's not how women were depicted in media when I was coming up. Everyone had to be a sex symbol and have a sex tape when I was coming up and entering this world. That was a very confused time, just like today. So what I'm telling you is there's always been bad guys, and there's always been unstoppable culture because the market demanded it that came flying back. And so just have faith in the push-pull that we're in right now, because that is history. That's what makes history. And have faith that there's far more of us than there are them, and have faith in all the idiotic things they're doing, the stupid things they're doing, backfiring. at the polls. And also, unfortunately, as a nonviolent person, I have to point out, unfortunately, if they don't address the root cause of what killed Charlie Kirk, this kid, a 22-year-old man who just fell into a group of nihilists and carried out a nihilist fantasy, feeling extremely empowered to do that, he did not act alone. If that is not addressed by all parties, there's going to be more of that. The threat is still there. What killed Charlie Kirk is still there.
Since this has been yet another especially dark week, I'm publishing our Monday Salon recording a few days early so you can join with other Gaslit Nation listeners by watching it and hearing how others across our country are thinking and feeling, and ideas and stuff to watch to help us all get through it together, because we will. We also discuss the lynchings of Black men in the South, a very clear sign of Trump's political violence crisis, along with the shooting of a homeless camp in Minneapolis following Brian Kilmeade's vile remarks on Fox News. Yet Brandon Carr isn't going after him because MAGA's political violence crisis is how they try to intimidate and control the opposition. Stochastic terrorism is just fine. That's what MAGA wants, to scare us into silence. But it is not going to work. We also open this week's Salon with a question from a listener on what Trump's crackdown on the opposition will look like. So I go into all that, but most importantly, pay attention to the lynchings. I'll link to some credible news reporting in the show notes. This is white rage, America. It's what built this country. We had a Black president not too long ago, and a non-white woman vice president was just about to become leader of the free world. They're now doing to us what the defeated South did after the Civil War: kill Reconstruction. But this time, they will fail. All right, everyone. See you Monday at the Gaslit Nation Salon at 4 p.m. Eastern. As always, look for the Zoom link on Patreon. Come as you are and join the conversation, shape the show, and find a community to help make sense of all of this. So join our Patreon to support our independent journalism. Discounted annual memberships are available, and you can give the gift of membership. Thank you to everyone who supports the show, especially during these times. We could not make Gaslit Nation without you. Now, in celebration of the brilliant, fearless comedians we need now more than ever, here's Jimmy Kimmel saying on his show exactly what I said on mine. We were right. We were right.
I'm starting to feel bad for Eric. This poor guy might need somebody to adopt him. In Washington today, the Senate Judiciary Committee grilled FBI Director Kash Patel.
It's an honor to be here with you today as the 9th Director of the FBI, to bring this fugitive to justice. We have also arrested, this may be the most important part, about to face charges at the same time last year. Ongoing investigations, not crime's free, and we're going to keep going. Lastly, I want to close with
the Kash Patel Senate hearings, brought to you by Flonase. Psst, psst, all good.
Well, you know what? Don't make fun. Allergies are seasonal and serious. So Patel was summoned to explain why they refused to release the Epstein files they promised to release. He was dodgy, sketchy, sniffy, combative, and just unpleasant overall. He couldn't even answer a question from fellow Republican John Kennedy.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
Forget yesterday. How about tomorrow? We would take... He still has no explanation for why they won't release the files, and no explanation for why Epstein's primary accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, was suddenly transferred to a country club prison after meeting with Trump's lawyer. Eventually, though, the frustration boiled over, and Senator Cory Booker didn't just grill Patel, he flame-broiled him live in front of everyone.
Here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America. Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And he grounded him for 2 weeks with no TV. The House Oversight Committee today released another batch of Epstein documents, or as Trump calls them, fake documents, unless they exonerate him, in which case, real documents. That's how you can tell. But Kash Patel, I'm not sure he even has the Epstein files to release. I have a feeling Trump put them like on top of a refrigerator where he can't reach them or something. But if he ever does get them, I think he should literally take a page out of his boss's playbook and offer them for sale.
I just got a page from the Epstein files.
I got one too.
And you won't believe who's on the list.
FBI director and self-published children's book author Kash Patel is liquidating the Epstein files. Get your official page at cashforfiles.com. Simply put $1,000 in an underinsured envelope that we provide at no extra cost, and 2 weeks later, you'll get an original, unredacted page from the Epstein files. Guaranteed to include the name of at least one public figure.
I got British royal family member Prince and
Hey, I got platinum recording artist Dick.
And I got current President Donald J. And it only cost me 2 months' rent.
Pay cash and get a one-of-a-kind heirloom you and your family will treasure for years to come. So what are you waiting for? Go to cashforfiles.com today. First 100 orders get a bonus gift. Government evidence that there is life on other planets.